unless you have like really, like if you're on an island, you know, and everyone else is dead, you have
And
to
for
power
some
through.
reason, you have to populate the island.
If you have to populate the island, you got to stick with it for humanity.
For humanity, you got to keep it up.
But in any other situation, if you find yourself not attracted to the person, it's usually not because they're like less physically attractive. Usually it's because there's something about them that is now less attractive to you. And that can change how you see a person. And so it's a good opportunity to reflect.
I know it hurts. I'm sorry. All right, you came to the right place, you ding dong. It's called communication, baby.
Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast that believes in love after love. It's your boy Ethan.
And I'm Patrick. That was.
Do you know that song?
The Life
Janet
at
Jackson?
Yeah, I'm familiar. I think you sang it wrong, but yeah.
Do you believe in love after love?
I think it's Life After Love.
Huh?
Is it Life After Love?
Well, then why does she say it so wrong?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, we believe
anyway,
in life.
welcome to The Crunch. The Crunch is a Catholic comedy podcast where Ethan and I sit down and have a goofy conversation, informal conversation about a Catholic topic. We think more people should have conversations like this. And so we're glad you're here. This is a special episode of the Crunch Catholic podcast called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, where Ethan, who has a PhD in dating, answers your dating questions. If you have a dating question and need it answered ASAP, go to bit.ly/crunch discord, go to the Dating Corner channel, post your question, and someone will answer it. Those kids are so active, and then Ben will give it to us, and we will post it here. We'll say it and answer it here. Ethan will answer it on the podcast. So, Ethan, last week we had Jeff ask us a question, and the turnaround time was so quick that we have an update from Jeff.
Jeff took action immediately. I would love to hear the update, please.
Okay, so update from
to hear how my patients are doing.
An update from the 221 episode, which is yesterday for us, but a week ago for you guys.
Ah.
Jeff wanted to ask out a girl, but was torn between calling her and hoping to run into her. He said, I definitely deserved the smack upside the head over the chicken comment. I've got to get out of my head more. In my defense, I realized I was being a bit of a dummy, and the second I sent the question to the Discord, I asked her out over the phone shortly afterwards.
Well,
Jeff,
Jeff,
super excited, invite us to the wedding. We'll have a great time.
Jeff believes in life after love.
He believes in love after life.
Love after love. I'm happy for you, Jeff. That's great. And if that's not proof that our advice works, I don't know what is. Ignore the fact that he did the action before he listened to the episode. But I take that as a win, you know?
Absolute win. I'm here for it.
Total dub. Let's get the first question rolling in. What do we got this week?
We have some juicy ones. I'm going to save the juicy one for the middle, actually, because I do think it could take a turn. But
Sure.
This one is also a guy who was uwu shy. This comes from Miguel.
Hi, Miguel.
Miguel says, I'm a very shy person. I lack confidence. It's always been very hard for me to ask girls to dance at parties and wedding receptions and all that jazz. These last couple of months, I've been working on my self-confidence. I'm glad to say I've been improving. I've slowly gained the courage to ask girls out to dance at events. This weekend, I went to a Valentine's dance. I was very hyped up. My thoughts were, I'm here to party. If I meet someone, I meet someone. If I don't, I don't. Throughout the night, I danced with about a dozen girls. It was very fun.
Wow.
Miguel, you Chad.
Let's go.
I love it. I got to meet a lot of people. Got one phone number. Hey, it's a numbers game. It's all about activity, you know?
Yes,
Sometimes
sir.
you get knock on 12 doors, get one phone number. But I also had a great time overall. It felt great. Towards the end of the night, I was having a conversation with my brother's girlfriend, and she said, you can't just go around dancing with a bunch of girls. You got to pick one and make her feel special. I understood the sentiment, but I told her it's better for me to dance with a lot of girls because then I'm able to meet a lot of people and see who might be actually interested. I can also see it depending on the situation. I know if I really click with someone, I might just want to focus on that one person. But I know most of the time this is going to happen. So I feel like it's okay to dance with other people and get to know them. What do you guys think? Am I wrong to have danced with a dozen girls? Should I have just picked one girl and tried all night to win her over? Ethan, what do you think?
Oh, I've done this. I've done I've done this. I was at a wedding in 2018, I believe.
The
And I
wild
was a
years.
groomsman in this wedding. It was like the first summer of my dating fast, and I was back from training. And I was a groomsman, and I think there were like no less than 4 bridesmaids that I like held hands with over the course of the evening, and like tried to dance with and flirt with. I was being a menace. Like, actually, I was, because it was the first summer that I was 21, and so I was uninhibited, and I felt cool, and I just was not. And you know what happened? All those girls got mad at me for doing that. Understandable, given the circumstances. And so I think, probably it would have been better, even just narrowing it down to a few. A dozen is a lot. But also you kind of went past, like, 4 or 5 is a lot. And like that could make people upset. But if you go to a dozen, then it's like very clear, like, oh, he's just dancing with a ton of girls. And I think, I don't think anybody would be upset about that. Like, I hear what your brother's girlfriend is saying. It could have been good, but I don't think any of those girls thought anything of it, because it's very clear, like, oh, this guy's just trying to dance with a lot of girls. He danced with me. We had a good time. I don't think anybody would think anything of it unless they were being super sensitive. You went past the point that I went into, like, the good zone. You know, you kind of have to pick one or the other. You kind of have to pick like 1 or 12. You can't go in the middle.
Because the reality with the Ethan situation was, you know, you're spending if you're a single guy, you're spending the 6 hours of the party with girls, right?
Yeah.
And so you have a choice, and it's like you can it's not about the number of girls. It's about the time that you're spending per girl. If you're spending if you have 6 hours with 12 girls, that's 30 minutes per girl on average, not including potty breaks.
Yes.
And so there's not enough time, right, to like get attached. Right. But if you have 4, if you're talking to 4 girls over the course of 6 hours, including potty breaks.
Oh, and this is also
over
including
an hour per girl. That's
this
a lot
is also
of time.
Including the
wedding,
the rehearsal dinner, and the
rehearsal dinner the night before,
and like going out to the bar after the rehearsal dinner the night before, and then going out to the bar after the wedding the day. Like, this is a whole weekend of negligence by me.
Bad move.
Honestly, put me in jail after that.
Seriously,
because it was not good. But Miguel, I don't think you have anything to worry about. You danced with 12 girls. You got one girl's number. If you had wanted to, like, if there was one girl in particular that you really liked and you wanted to go after, maybe it would have been the right thing to really try to impress her, or focus more on dancing with her as many times as you could, without being creepy.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't anybody, like you said in your question, I'm here to party, I think that's fine. I like that attitude, actually. I think more guys need to be like you, where it's like, I'm just here to party. I'm not going to get hung up on one particular girl.
I know. I'm not here to find my wife.
Right. You know, like, I'm just going to, like, this. You're the kind of guy that everybody wants to be around. Actually, I'm going to say this, Miguel, because it's like, you're very clearly not like being creepy, and you're not being like a threat. You're just like having fun and meeting women normally. And I think that's actually really, really good. So
for my brief single period when I was in college, I got in trouble for that. So my friends were like, "Wow, Patrick is he's just going on dates all these girls and breaking hearts." And none of them cared after we didn't go out on another date. It was just
right,
date here, date here, date here. And then I met my wife, and I was like, "This one, done,
ding dong,
easy, buckets."
Yes,
right. It was fine.
Jordan.
Some people made it a bigger deal than it was. Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I said no, and I think he's really hurt." I'm like, "No, I moved on. It's fine."
Yes,
And so sometimes from the outside, people try to read your intentions, so they'll give you advice based on what they think is going on in your head. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that I've gotten a question from a man on this segment where I feel like you're doing all right.
Yeah, I was worried because I was like, oh, he's shy, but I don't think you're that shy, Miguel.
No, I don't think you're. Okay. I think you're kind of based.
I think you're
potentially
kind of actually.
I think you might be a Chad King.
Yeah. Yep. It's giving Chad.
Well done, Miguel. We're very proud of you.
Well done. Extremely excited.
My good and faithful servant.
my laptop died, so I have to not
Oh.
the one that we're on, the other one that I was using to read the question. So I'm going to the
Pull it up on the phone.
device.
We got the topics channel here. That should be very easy to.
No, I copied them all onto a Notion.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's very nice.
So all of our episode notes are in one place. The stories that I told, the topic note. Yeah,
What about the
Okay.
stories that I told?
the stories you told were not put there because they were not as cool. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay,
Tell
all right.
great stories.
This one, I'm kind of worried about. Ben rephrased the question
Okay.
because I think the question is it's going to be a little too much for some people, I think.
Okay.
Body problems. So this is
Oh.
about a man and his
With
difficulty.
body problems?
He is having trouble finding his lady attractive.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a
Interesting.
problem.
Okay.
So, Ben's broad rewording of the question. I've been dating a woman for 2 months now. I love her emotionally. I don't desire her physically. Her body type isn't very attractive to me. At some points, I feel like she's perfect for me, and other points, I get very depressed about not feeling attracted to her. Help. Would you like more details?
Me?
Yes.
I would. I mean, if they're there to be shared, I would. If I'm a doctor, I can't operate on my patient if I don't know where the femur is. You know.
I feel terrible for asking this. It's been on my mind, though. I've been dating this girl. I love her. I can't completely desire her. I know this sounds horrible, and all the girls reading this are going to cringe, but what's holding me back is like her body. I feel really
Sure.
bad. So I know this is a problem,
No.
but
Yeah.
just
This is why we write in, is because these things are hard. You know.
yes.
Don't feel bad
She's-
about experiencing a difficult thing. This is
Yes.
this is good. We're humans.
She's 5'1" and very skinny. She's a very small person. And so I know that he goes, yes, I know I will never marry the perfect woman. And I know there is something in every woman I won't find attractive. But he's just having trouble finding this particular woman attractive. We've been dating for almost 2 months now. At some points, I thought that she's the one. Sometimes I'm all depressed about it. Do you have any advice?
2 months. That radically changes the context of this question.
He started with 2 months, though. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's 2 months.
I missed that at the beginning. I was keyed in on the body because I was just waiting for what the body news was going to be.
Yeah.
2 months is nothing. Break up. Like, you don't have to. You're not. I mean, you're obligated in some sense. Like, you can't just hurt this girl's feelings for no reason and like leave randomly.
Mm.
But also, like, anything less than 3 months is reasonable to like kind of get out without really any reason, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not feeling it and you don't see it going anywhere, you don't have to have a good reason to break up with someone.
Yeah, I know
Because
you're saying
you
that,
don't
but like he's
have
probably
to date anyone.
if
you
he's in
know?
college, 2 months
Yeah.
does feel like a lot because it's half a semester, and a semester is so
true.
long. It's like, wow, the half of
Yes.
the semester, it's almost, it's halfway over. It's at midterms. You can't break up with a girl before midterms. You got to at least give her till
Yes, you
Thanksgiving.
can.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Give her
probably
some.
when you're in college, it feels like 2 months feels like such a long time
It's not. It's not. And like,
because
I mean,
you only get 8
longer...
months in person together, right?
Right.
So
right.
2 months is a quarter of your time together. It's a lot.
I understand what you're saying, but the longer that you wait, the
worse
worse
it
it's going to be. Yes. So it's like, I hear that, but I still don't think you owe her. Like, it's weird to just to look at your girlfriend and be like, I just am so unattracted to you.
It would be
And-
different if you guys had known each other for years and like you've been through.
Yeah. This is like, you're trying to decide whether or not you're going to propose. You know, it's like, I've been dating this girl for 2 years and like, I'm not attracted to her anymore. What do I do? Like, that's a different scenario. What are you laughing about? What is funny? You're saying I'm ugly.
You didn't catch
No.
my pun.
No, I didn't. What
It'd
did you
be
say?
different if you'd been together forever. You've been, together for years. You've been through thick and thin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Thanks.
funny. I guess. Is he thick? Is he a big guy?
He might be. Usually opposites attract. I'm just kidding.
That's true. Yeah. You can't feel guilty about this. People need to, if you don't see the relationship going anywhere, break it off. like I said, you don't have to have a good reason to break up with someone.
Yeah, because this is a thing that it's I think
At
guys,
this stage, I guess.
when guys are not attracted to a girl, they're like, wow, this is a really bad reason to break up with her because I'm basically admitting that I don't find her attractive. And since my attractions are perfect, no one is ever going to find her attractive. And that's just not true. Like, what's a huge deal for you is not going to be a big deal for everyone. And this is like, sometimes I've talked, I was a high school youth minister and there were girls in the group. And so obviously we had these conversations. And they're also children, so they're like, oh, my body's all weird. It's like, well, whatever. And like, I've never even found attractive, blah blah blah. And it's like, you don't need to be found attractive by everyone. You really only need to be found attractive by one person max.
Yeah. If you are found attractive by everyone, it will lead to serious lifelong mental issues. Most
usually
likely.
That's the case. Yes.
Right. Like, I don't think that, like, did you see that video of Britney Spears like smoking a cigarette and like doing a dance routine at like the age of 40? This like video, it just popped up on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, she's not doing well.
No, of course not.
And it's because she was 14 years old, and she was put on the cover of Rolling Stone in like a silk T-shirt or whatever, and like,
Can't
you know what
believe
I'm
we did
saying?
that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
wild.
it's not a good time, right? But it's like because of that, she has all kinds of crazy things, and like you can name a ton of people that are like this who are just totally broken because everyone in the world basically agreed you're really attractive and we're going to give you all the attention that we possibly can.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just like, you can see how that would ruin someone. But then when we experience it ourselves, it's like, well, no, of course I don't want anyone to think that I'm unattractive because that would make me feel bad. So it's kind of, I get it, but no, for you, question asker, 2 months, nothing. It feels like a long time. It's not that long of a time. If you are struggling, just get out. It's okay. You're not a bad person for not being attracted. All women are queens, but that doesn't mean that like you have to always be attracted to every woman. Like
I would not recommend that personally.
There's nothing broken with you because you thought you liked her or you thought you found her attractive and now you don't. Like, this is just how things go sometimes. And there's also nothing wrong with her. So you kind of got to let go of the guilt and like no one's doing anything wrong here. The only thing that would be wrong is you prolonging it because you feel bad. That would be the worst case scenario.
We've also kind of snuck the premise in that if you're not physically attracted to someone, you should break up with them. Would you agree that that's usually a good rule of thumb?
Unless you have like really, like if you're on an island, and everyone else is dead, you have to power through.
For some reason, you have to populate the island.
If you have to populate the island, you got to stick with it for humanity.
For humanity, you got to keep it up.
But in any other situation, if you find yourself not attracted to the person, it's usually not because they're like less physically attractive. Usually it's because there's something about them that is now less attractive to you. And that can change how you see a person. And so it's a good opportunity to reflect. I don't think it's a one-to-one like...
What do you think all this love talk is for this guy? Like, why does he say he loves her so much? He's like, I love this girl.
Do you?
Why is he saying it?
You think she's unattractive.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's like, if I love people that I love, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I just kind of have to suffer through looking at her,
Yeah.
I don't like, yes, I think you love this person, but you've been dating them for 2 months. And I don't think that you actually understand what loving this person means, which is fine. You're not supposed to at 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously different for everybody. Some people get engaged on the first date, whatever. But it goes at different speeds for different people. You think that you love her, maybe you do. But again, it's up for you to decide. If you're like, man, I really love her and I want to sacrifice for her and I don't care if I don't find her attractive, then to keep dating her. If that's your prerogative. Like, these are your boundaries that you get to set because it's your relationship, really,
that's
at
true.
the end of the day. Like, if you don't care, you can keep dating her.
Then fine, yeah.
But it sounds like since you wrote in, you care,
Yes, yeah. It sounds like it's tearing you up. He says he's getting like depressed over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
guess
in a
I
relationship
guess
and you're depressed, question
yeah,
mark?
it might be time. I do want to stay on this a little bit because I know this is probably difficult for our female listeners to hear. It's like,
Oh,
what if someone
yeah.
what if someone thinks this about me? Oh no, all of my fears are correct. My boyfriend of 2 months finds me physically unattractive. This
Yeah.
question proves it. What do you have to say to the ladies out there, Ethan?
Ladies, you're beautiful.
You queens.
I love you. Patrick loves you. You're queens.
Especially all
We're
of our
married.
patrons.
Especially of our patrons, the female Patreon people. Man,
Patreon.
Patreon. Oh,
Oh, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
love my family. Oh, mercy me. All right, we're done. We're not doing any
What
more.
have I done? What have I done to my family?
What were we talking about? Now I'm only
Oh.
thinking about catamaran plan quotes.
I
We
think
were talking
it's
about women.
Important. I think
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
important. I was having a conversation with a friend of ours, having a conversation
Mm.
with a friend of ours who was concerned that people found her annoying. And I think the
What?
same rule applies to people who don't find you attractive. I said, I was like, even if I did find you annoying, what does that matter? I am probably wrong. Like even if Joe over there does think you're annoying, well that's Joe's opinion, like
There's so many
that says
people
more
out
about
there.
him, and it's
Yeah.
like attraction is not something that you are able to control.
Yeah.
If
That's true.
someone
That's a good
doesn't
point.
find you attractive, I would not take it personally. I know it's hard to not take it personally because they don't find you personally attractive, but they don't see it in themselves. So it's like it's not your fault, I guess.
Right. That is a really good point. Is that kind of base level attractiveness is not really. It's like it's very chemical. It's very.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens, and so it's not. And it does fade, quote unquote, over time. Like there's not. You see the same. Like you get habituated to an environment, right? Like if you see the same person every day, over time they're going to be less. Like you're going to get less of that, whatever it is, serotonin or whatever the drug is that happens in your brain
Whatever it is, yeah.
when you see them. And that's like why people freak out if they like been in a relationship for 2 years and then they see like a beautiful woman or a really attractive guy walking down the other side of the street. They're like, oh, am I cheating on this person because I had more of an emotional response to that person than I did to my spouse or to my long-term boyfriend or girlfriend? It's like, no, it's just like, that's just how your brain is. Like they see it and then it reacts without you even knowing because it's good for the reproduction of the species to have that happen.
Or
and
something.
So, or something, who knows? But,
and then Catholic speakers will say like, oh, you got to like appreciate the beauty. And the answer to that is actually no, you need to just move on.
yeah, you need to
walk. You need to walk on by. Because attractions are not real things. They're like the
right.
Phoebe and I were talking about this yesterday because we had a talk about chastity at church. A couple of friends of mine gave the talk, and my friend asked me like, he's like, what do you think of the talk? He's like, be on a scale of 1 to 10, and I was like, 5. Sorry. And I was like, I felt really bad. I still feel bad saying it, but I was like on a scale of like middle schoolers stammering through a speech on global warming to like Father Mike Schmitz's "This hour will change your life" talk. Like there's a big spectrum here.
Yes.
Right in the middle is a good place to be. Anyway, it was a great.
My
it was a good talk series.
My 10 is the TED talk of the guy who's dancing in the field, and then all the other people come and dance with him. That's my 10
like that one?
presentation.
Your Simon Sinek.
I do like
talk?
that one because I've seen it probably 50,000 times.
That's your.
I don't know who Simon Sinek is, and I refuse to learn. Carry on.
Anyway, I bring that up because it was a great talk series, right there in the middle. It's a good talk on chastity, solid group of guys, and solid group of girls, and Phoebe and I were talking about attraction, because all the questions are about attraction. Like, how do you deal with attraction to other people as married couples? And I was like, honestly, in my opinion, you just don't give it enough credence to like do anything.
You don't think about it.
Yeah, and that sounds like you're like pushing down feelings, but really it's like you're just letting them go because they're not real.
Right.
You know?
It's like if you're asking me like, do you find this person attractive? It's like, well, yeah, sure, that person who's not my wife is attractive, but like I don't care. You know, like that's the difference. It's like it doesn't affect me in any sort of meaningful way. So why should I spend more? Like I wouldn't have even acknowledged that thought had you not asked me, because it's just something that comes up. It comes up, and then it's like I'm thinking about, like I have to do the laundry. I have to go to work. I have to get gas in the car. I have to put shelves up in the garage. I don't have time to think about how attractive XYZ person is on
I have to pay
TikTok
my kids'
or on the
orphanage
street.
bills.
What does that mean?
That's one of my favorite Office jokes ever, because he breezes right past it. Like,
Yeah.
they're asking questions like, how am I gonna afford gas in my car? How am I gonna pay? How am I gonna pay my mortgage? How am I gonna pay my kids' orphanage bills? You know, like just
Who
breezes
says
right
this?
past it. Andy Bernard, I think, says that. It's very
Who
funny.
went to Cornell?
Yeah,
That guy?
when he's
Okay.
the manager. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
I love that. I love that line. It's a good.
It's
line.
a good line. But it's like you don't think about it. And so this is the same with these types of attractions. It's like, okay, you're actually in a situation now where it is worth thinking about like how your attractions are coming up and whether they're good or bad or whatever. So I think they tell you something. So it's like if you're a married guy, for example, and you're giving a lot of credence to these attractions and you think that they mean something, it's like, well, that's a disorder, you know, like you've gone too far off the deep end. And similarly, if you're in a relationship and you find that like these attractions aren't happening at all, and you're in a situation where you can leave the relationship, it's like, okay, well, that's different than being in a marriage. So it's like you pay different attention to those attractions when you're not committed to someone, because they can mean more, quote unquote, than like when you're married. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I need to get better at tangents when I'm making points. There's no need for me to talk about all the chastity talk stuff. I should just set the point. So I was thinking about that.
It provides color, because now everyone's like, ooh, Patrick has a really high standard for chastity talks, and they're all judging you, and they all think you're annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably do.
No, they don't.
Fine. It's my podcast. You can.
What if I gave a talk? What would you rank it?
Well, I basically like I think my.
See how he dodged the question, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see how he dodged the question?
Here's what I think is that if a talk fits a certain structure, it's an automatic above average. Like, I think that for people who are rusty, I think it's like the best for every homily. It's like the best you can do is like a 5. The best you can do if you're like an unprepared or like off the cuff. And if you have a structure, it's an automatic. Well, that's not. It's like if you have some kind of structure, it's an automatic 5. If you have the right kind of structure, and I told him the structure talks like the more stories, the better. The more stories that are in your talk, the higher it goes up, because it sticks in the brain more, and the more jokes you make, and then the more emphatic the point, like the more intense the call to action. The bigger you cast the vision. I have a 5-step outline that I use for every talk that just back of the napkin real quick. And so my answer to you is, if you follow that outline, I will love the talk, because it's my outline.
Sure.
And so that's if you want me to like the talk, you do that. You tell a story, you make it universal, you make your point, you do a call to action, you cast a vision. That's what you do. That's my talk formula.
Man, I don't know. I think if you gave a talk, I would give it a 1.
Probably deserved.
Because I think I've heard all your jokes before. So I'd be like,
no, I come up with new ones. I come up with new stories.
You come up with new stories and new jokes. I hear everything that happens to you. Everything.
That's true.
Gets put in a voice memo to me on a daily basis.
Something good
or a
happens
series
to
of
me.
Angry text messages.
Something good happens to me, I immediately tell Ethan, and then I go, I should probably tell my wife too. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's good. I'm glad you tell me. And it's always great, but it's always mundane. Patrick's like, you'll never guess what happened. I'm like, what? Thinking it's going to be like someone called and was like, we want the podcast to be billionaires, and it's like, I found a Chick-fil-A gift card on the ground. It's like, okay, cool.
Save it for the podcast, jerk.
That's not what I was hoping for.
I found a Chick-fil-A
end
gift
with
card on
a-
the ground.
We can end with a joke question.
Oh yeah, I got one. This guy's who was shy. I don't have a joke question.
The one that's
I have a
not a
good
dating
one, though.
question. Someone posted this. We're almost out of time, so I just wanted to get to this one.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, dude, just you say it and I'll react to it. I'll be Dr.
In another server I'm in, it's Wild and over there. This is from our Discord. It's a screenshot, and it says, "When fat people go to hell, does all the fat go with them, or do they become skinny?" We've actually answered this question on the podcast before. If you go back to Thick Boys in Heaven, we talk about how all of your dead skin and all of your hair and all of your fingernails all get resurrected with you.
Resurrected with you, yeah.
And so you're proportionally larger in heaven than you are on earth. And
Yeah.
so I think the same thing applies in hell too, surely. Right?
This is
like
thematically this works because, she will be larger in heaven. So just I guess the answer is date her until marriage, go to heaven, and then she will finally be perfect for you.
Whoa. Interesting. You're saying
So
with
all
the
of
last
her
question.
dead what?
You're saying with the last question. You're not answering this question about whether
No, I'm
fat
answering
people get
both of
skinny
these
when they go to
questions.
hell.
I think no, sorry. The answer is fat people do get skinny when they go to heaven.
Yeah.
Because they get ripped. Our bodies are that's the reward you get for having to have gone through Earth plus sized. You get to be jacked. That's the
Right, you
reward
get
for
jacked.
no effort.
What about the skinny guys? What do we get in heaven?
You get
We
the
also get to
reward
be
of-
jacked?
You get the reward of having been able to be comfortable on airplanes forever. That's what you.
So I get no reward in heaven. I'm doing this all for nothing.
You have received your reward of never having to get a first class for sitting in coach and in the middle seat and being like, this is nice, swinging your legs.
I don't swing my legs. I'm not 4'5". Get out of here.
Swinging your legs, having a great time, asking the tall guy next to you to reach the light because you can't quite get it.
This is slander. I'm gonna end the show. We
I'm
do a
not saying
podcast.
I'm just saying
3
people
times a
in
week.
General, it's not
3 times a
you.
week. This podcast. We do a bonus show for our patrons. Patreon.com/thecrunch. $10 a month and up gets you a bonus show. We do 2 episodes a week publicly. That's 8 episodes. So each episode is about $1 if you give $10 a month.
Something, yeah.
And then you get another free episode included with that on Friday. So if you pay $10 a month, you get not only the 2 shows we do every week, but the 3rd show that we do every week, which amounts to 12. Is that right? Am I mathing correctly? 12 shows a week, which is less than $1 per episode. So you can take us for a spin for cheaper than that little pony at the grocery store that goes back and forth.
Man, those things were awesome. They don't have those anymore.
They do not. But we have the Patreon. So the more
You
the merrier.
don't need the ponies anymore.
Join the Discord to ask your dating question. That's bit.ly/crunch-discord. The hopper is not full, so we need some more questions to get us rolling into next week. So make sure to head on over, ask your question there. Patrick, do you got anything else for the people?
I'm sorry, I'm too harsh on speaking.
Oh, it's okay. We know.
My wife is right. I am too much. I am judgmental.
No.
If you dear listener, if you gave a talk, I would rate it at a 10 because you listen to me.
If you're a patron, I give you 11.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We'll be praying for you. We'll see you all next week.